Mr. Chairman, as I said earlier, I support making the amendments of members that have presented them in order, and I continue to have that view, mindful that my support of them being made in order for a debate doesn't mean that I will be voting for them. But I particularly am concerned with some that I heard from this panel, and I'll leave it at that. But, Mr. Chairman, I want to take a moment of personal prerogative. In our offices on July 3rd, all of us received a letter from our colleague and my good friend from the Virgin Islands indicating that that day, July 3rd, marked the 169th anniversary of the United States Virgin Islands Emancipation Day. She also wrote to us that this year we also commemorate the centennial of the United States purchase of the Virgin Islands of St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. And I've had the good fortune of visiting all of them and would commend them to all of you if you have not. The United States, in its costliest per acre land purchase, something I did not know and some of you may not know, paid $25 million in gold bullion for these islands with strategic military locations for protecting the Caribbean Basin and the Panama Canal. This sale, however, occurred without a vote by the native Virgin Islanders. And I take the prerogative, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, of citing to yet another paragraph and then ask unanimous consent that the letter be placed in the record in support of Ms. Plaskett's amendments, and also that we take cognizance of the importance not only of this one of the territories of the United States and the District of Columbia.
Without objection, be into the record.
Thank you. It says, Mr. Chairman, that Virgin Islanders spent the next decade as citizens without a country, and now in 2017, alongside fellow territorial residents, hold no electoral votes and have no voting representation in Congress. Disenfranchisement in territories was originally viewed as a temporary step on the path toward statehood, but it has become a means to maintain the doctrine established by the Plessy versus Ferguson Supreme Court of separate and unequal status for the overseas territories. As a consequence, the Virgin Islands does not receive the same proportion of support in federal dollars as do states for school funding, roads, health care, even though residents have historically made the ultimate sacrifice in military conflicts 3 times the national average. And I won't draw from it more. She also sent us a medal, and I appreciate our colleague for that. It is interesting today that Mr. Donovan, with whom I agree regarding his plight, to have all 3 of the areas of New York under a single cost factor as it pertains to housing and other matters that he brought to our attention for veterans, is sitting here while Ms. Plaskett is offering up a very similar kind of concern for the Virgin Islands. And I would hope that your sympathetic views or empathy regarding your own would allow that it spill over to our colleague who doesn't, she's not Staten Island, she's the Virgin Islands, but still an island. And I bring it to all of our attention because this is something we need to correct. Good friend of mine and yours, Mr. Chairman, and those that served with, I know Mr. Woodall would remember Eni Falamio Vega from American Samoa. Eni used to say to us very frequently, and it was true, that proportionately more Samoans died in the United States military than any other place in our great country. We need to take cognizance of that, and I would hope that we not only make Ms. Plaskett's amendments in order, but that we also take cognizance of the fact that she won't even be able to vote for them. And I have had the pleasure of knowing every one of the Virgin Island representatives. And I can honestly say all of them, from Mr. Lugo to Frazier, others along the way, have all been very diligent in their pursuit of the rights of Virgin Islanders. And I don't know any of them that have worked any harder than my good friend, Ms. Plaskett. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.